We examine the crisis in higher education costs up next on Comcast Newsmakers.
Bringing you the news and information you need from the people making a difference. This is Comcast Newsmakers.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Newsmakers. According to this hour's newsmaker, college tuition rates are rising 8% a year, and 53% of individuals who should apply for federal aid ignore the process. Here to discuss what families need to be doing to deal with these costs is Peter Ratzan, co-owner of collegeplanningadvice.com. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Now, this is something, I guess, this is the time of year that a lot of families are getting ready for their child to go away to college. What do they need to know that they probably don't know?
Well, first of all, there are a few things that are going on at the state level in college. First, there are three things. First of all, college costs are rising rapidly. They are more than double the rate of inflation, and certainly higher than most families' salaries are increasing. Secondly, the schools themselves are threatening to restrict enrollment. So kids are not going to be able to get into these schools because they're restricting enrollment. And the reason why is there's a budget crisis in the state of Florida, and there are just too many students and not enough professors. And so what's happening is that kids are taking a long time to get in and out of schools, more than 4 years to graduate. So every family should be looking at the financial aid process. Every family should be applying for financial aid.
What schools are the toughest to get into in the state of Florida?
University of Florida is certainly the flagship university, and it is the most difficult school to get into at the state level.
And I guess FSU would be up there as well.
FSU as well, and a lot of kids are, what's happening at the state, because of the crisis in the economics of it and the supply and demand of students, a lot of kids are now starting to apply to University of Central Florida and South Florida, and those schools are becoming more and more popular.
The Florida Young Future Scholarship has come out because of the lottery. Has that assisted families in getting their kids to college?
Well, in fact, what families are finding is both the Bright Futures Scholarship as well as Florida Prepaid, families are finding that those things are not covering the full cost of tuition. Tuition costs in Florida are between $15,000 and $20,000. That's the total cost of attendance per year. And Florida Prepaid only covers tuition at $3,700 or so. So what's happening is that families are finding that even though they've had the foresight to purchase Florida Prepaid, and their students are smart enough to earn a Bright Futures Scholarship, that the total cost is not covered.
So what should families do?
Well, again, all families should be applying for financial aid, the federal
regardless
financial
of
aid
income
process.
level.
Regardless of income level. As you said, 53% of families, according to the College Board, who would qualify for financial aid are not applying. And many families are filling out the financial aid forms with errors and inconsistencies. As many as 78 to 90% of the forms that go in wrong. And that's because families are not planning properly early enough.
Do you think some families are opting for the community college avenue because of a financial situation?
Certainly there are families that are doing that, and there are other families that are not looking at private school because they think that private schools cost too much, whereas in fact, if you fill out the financial aid forms properly and you plan ahead and you understand the process, some families can actually find that a private school can cost less out of pocket than a public school.
Has financial aid gone up from the federal government in recent years to meet this demand?
Well, the numbers, there are over $80 billion in financial aid that is awarded each year by the federal government, and that number changes on an annual basis based on appropriations. But there's a lot of money out there for families to consider when they're looking to apply for college.
Now, when you're looking at colleges and maybe you don't think you have a shot for a Florida college, people are going out of state as well, right?
Absolutely. And again, a lot of families should be looking at other schools outside of the state system, A, because the state system is looking to restrict enrollment, and B, as I said, there are times where an out-of-state school or a private school can actually cost less than an in-state public school when you consider the fact that percentages of need that are met at the state school versus private schools tend to give more way. They tend to address the need more generously than the state schools.
Are there some schools out there actively recruiting students?
Yes, there are. In fact, students and families should know when they're looking at schools the degree of generosity that those schools are offering in terms of financial aid. That's how they can.
And very quickly, you have workshops going on, right?
We do. We hold workshops throughout Broward County, free workshops where we host them and explain the whole financial aid process for families.
Thanks so much. This hour's newsmaker, Peter Ratzan, discussing rising college tuition costs. I'm Spiro Canton. Thanks for joining us.
The preceding has been a presentation of Comcast Newsmakers. And now, back